Today we're going to be ranking every single LEGO Star Wars set from 2022. I love seeing other people's videos like this, so I thought I'd give it a shot, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start out with the Hoth AT-ST. I think this set can go in A tier, maybe B tier. No, I don't know. Let's go with B tier for now. I think it's a pretty good set. I think for 50 bucks, maybe it's $10 overpriced or so, but overall it's not bad. I like the printing on Chewbacca with the snow pattern and stuff like that. It's an AT-ST. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we've seen these before. It's a pretty good set though. Next we have the AT-ST polybag. I'm going to put this in C tier. I think it's a fine polybag, but again, it's just a polybag. It's $5. It's whatever. I think the Lars Family Homestead goes in A tier for me. I'm pretty excited that they've started to bring back the minifigures for the May 4th gift with purchase promo. And I think that this set is a pretty good example of that. I mean, you've got a good minifigure, you've got a nice build that comes with it, which has a lot of useful pieces actually. And overall, I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think it's a pretty good set. Next, we got the Hoth Rebel Trooper figure pack. This one goes in A tier. I think that it's a great army builder. For 15 bucks, it's not bad. It was out of stock a little bit this year, but overall, it's great. I mean, 15 bucks is not a bad price for 3 minifigures these days, so I'm pretty happy with it. Next up, we got the Clone Trooper Command Station. I would love to put this one in S tier, but I think it actually belongs in A tier. I'm a big fan of the Phase 1 clones that they have in this set, but really the fact that it comes with the Clone Trooper Commander kind of ruins it a little bit because you're wasting a figure for each extra one of these that you buy. Plus, on top of that, it's been really hard to find them in stock, so overall, I just don't think it can really go into S tier. The Hoth Trooper Battle Pack for me, though, is the first one to go into S tier for this year. I think this set is great. I mean, it's super easy to army build. You can get a bunch of them for big mocks and stuff like that. The figures look good. You got some nice variety with the skin tones and stuff. And then you also get a Scout Trooper, which is pretty cool, too. Overall, I don't have anything bad to say about the Battle Pack. I know that they used to be $15 and now we're at that $20 price point. But with the way inflation's gone recently, I feel like it's actually not that bad of a deal. The Razor Crest Microfighter goes in the B tier for me. I don't think there's anything really wrong with this set, but I think that the Mandalorian had already come in some pretty cheap sets, and so it's already an accessible figure. I don't see a reason to make it into a $10 set. I think they could have picked something else, but overall, it's fine. I mean, for kids who want to spend 10 bucks and get the figure, I think it's all right. Next up, as a surprise to probably nobody, is our first D category contender with the Justifier. I think this set was definitely overpriced at $170 for only 1,000 pieces. I know it's got some big pieces there and it's got some functionality and stuff like that. The Cad Bane figure is awesome, but $170 is just way too much for this thing. The Dark Trooper attack set I think fits nicely into the B tier category. It would have been a little bit higher if it wasn't quite as expensive as it's become, but they actually upped the price of this one, I think $5 earlier this year. And so at 35 bucks, it feels a little bit expensive for what you get, but I love the fact that there's 3 Dark Troopers there, and the Luke figure is pretty good. You've got some generic parts that you can use to build other Jedi and stuff like that if you tend to army build this sort of thing. For me, the Mandalorian N1 Starfighter goes into the C tier category. I think it was just a little bit too overpriced for what you get at $60, and it should have felt a little bit more polished, I think. If you watch it in the show, it's like this super sleek design, and I feel like the Lego model just feels a little bit clunky to me. If it was somewhere more in like the $45 to $50 price range, I think it would have been okay. But at 60 bucks, it's just a little too expensive for what you get. I think with Boba Fett's throne room, there's no question that this goes right into the D tier. It's way too overpriced at $100, and the figures are pretty good, but the build is very lackluster. For parts, though, if you can get it on sale, I found it for around 60 bucks, and I thought that was a pretty good deal. The parts are pretty great. They're definitely useful if you're a mock builder. And the new head mold for the Quarren minifigure is pretty cool, but overall, way too much money. It goes in D tier. I'm going to lump these next two in together in C tier, these helmet sets, and we'll pull the Dark Trooper in there too. They're fine. They're not bad or anything, but they just don't have much of an appeal to me personally. I think they're a little bit expensive for what you actually get at the end of the day, and the build experience with these is pretty repetitive. I know a lot of people like them for their display value, and that's totally fair, just not for me. They go in C tier. Next up, we got the Death Star Trench Run. I think this one goes in B tier. It's not a bad looking display model. I actually think it looks pretty good. It's just overpriced, which I think is a problem that plagues a lot of the sets that came out this year. I think it's a good looking set though, so B tier it is. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put the Dagobah Training in the A tier. I really like the way that this diorama looks. I think it's a great looking model on a shelf. It's a little bit too expensive once again, but overall it looks really good. The figures are good that come with it, and I like the back printing on the R2-D2 quite a lot. Next up, going straight into the S tier, is the UCS Razor Crest. I don't think anybody can argue with this. It's a fantastic looking model. Yes, it is $600, and that's one of the things that stopped me from buying it. I also don't have a 2 foot by 2 foot space in my house somewhere that I can just dedicate to having this thing sit in. But overall, it's a fantastic looking model. The minifigures are good that come along with it, and I think it's a pretty iconic ship at this point. The 4 Plus ATST goes right into the D tier category. This thing is way too overpriced. $35 is absolutely not worth it for what you get. I'd maybe pay $15. I know that Lego has to spend a lot on like custom molds for these things, and they don't do any stickers. They do printing for all the 4 Plus sets, but it's just really not a great value for what you get. It is not worth $35. I think Obi-Wan Starfighter belongs in the A tier. For $30, it's a pretty good deal. And I think that the ship could have looked a little bit better. I know a lot of people have mentioned the gaps between the wings, and I agree it's not that great looking for that reason. But overall, it's not a bad looking ship, and I think the fact that you get a Kaminoan minifigure with this set really just sells it for me. And if you can find it on sale for like $24, it's a great deal. Go ahead and pick one up. I mean, it's only $24. It's a good set. Next, we got the Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader set. I'm putting this one in C tier. I know people might disagree with me and say that this one should go straight into D tier because it's an awful looking display model. And I'd agree to a certain extent. It's not very good looking, but I think the minifigures you get are really good. And from a parts pack perspective, this has some great pieces in it for mock builders. Don't buy it at $50. It's way too overpriced at that point. But if you can get it for less than that, I think it's not a bad deal. I've found it for half off, and I think that was totally worth it for me. So if you can find the same deal, go for it. For me, BD1 is definitely an A tier set. I think it's a great looking figure model. It's maybe a little bit overpriced, but for what you get, it looks super accurate to the source material, and I think the designers did a fantastic job with this one. Next up, going straight into the S tier, we have the Inquisitor's Transport Scythe. I think this is a fantastic looking model. I don't have anything negative that I can say about this set. It's $100 and it feels like $100. It looks about the right size to be at that price point. The figures are really detailed. I just think that they knocked this one out of the park too. I'm very happy with it, and I can't recommend it enough. The ATTE goes into S tier for me as well, and I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me because there should have been a crab droid in there and the helmet holes don't look good on the clones, but I was just really excited for this set because of the model. I think the ATTE looks great itself, and I'm very happy with it. I didn't have one in my collection, so I was really anticipating this set when it came out, and I think it delivered. You get 5 clones, you get a couple battle droids. I think it looks really good overall, and I'm very happy with it. Hopefully they'll address those other issues in the future, but for now, I'm pretty content with this set. I'm going to put the Ambush on Ferrix in the A tier. I think the only problem with this set is the price. It shouldn't have been $70. Maybe $50 would have been better, but overall, the model looks really good. It was actually a really fun build, and it's very solid. The minifigures look good. The set itself, there's nothing wrong with it at all. It's just the price point, so it can't go in S tier, but A tier is where it's at. The Death Star trash compactor's going in the C tier for me. I just think this thing is too expensive at $90. I understand it comes with 6 minifigures, but even as a display model, I think it just looks fine. I mean, sure, like the closing and opening of the trash compactor is kind of fun with that functionality, but I don't like the way that the sidewalls look from the outside, and I think it's just an okay set, and for $90, it's too expensive. I'm going to go ahead and throw Luke's Land Speeder right into the C category as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with the model itself. It looks pretty good. But who asked for a Luke's Land Speeder? I didn't want this. I mean, I don't know. I think that there's a bunch of other things out there that they could have picked for this UCS slot that would have been better. And I just have no interest in it. So it goes in the C tier. The Republic Fighter Tank is another one that goes in the A tier category for me. I know that the model has some issues with it, with the front not closing exactly right and stuff, but you can make some modifications to it that make it look a lot better. And I like the purple clones quite a bit. I know other people weren't super happy with that, but I think it's a great set. I own a couple of them, and I'm happy with them. Last and probably least is the Advent Calendar. I don't think this is a very good set at $45. It's just not worth it. I don't think there's anything wrong with this concept. I just think it's way too expensive for what you get. That's it. We've ranked every single LEGO Star Wars set from 2022. Definitely let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'm sure some of you guys will have differing opinions from me. Hit the like button on this video, and don't forget that every time a new person subscribes to my channel, a Geonosian gets its wings. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one.